Welcome back to the Reyes Reflection podcast. If this is your first time, we're all about great stories, great conversations, and getting to know the great people along the way. Before the ball gets rolling, be sure to check out the episode bio for exclusive deals from today's sponsors and follow me on all social media platforms at I'm Nathaniel Reyes. Today's guest has spent decades working alongside some of Hollywood's biggest names while building a career filled with unforgettable moments. You may know him as the mortal bus driver from Hocus Pocus, as well as many other memorable roles, Big Fat Liar, Fantastic Four, as well as many credible television programs, including Days of Our Lives, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and My Two Dads. He's worked with everyone from Brendan Fraser to Margot Robbie, and somewhere along the way, he earned one of the greatest names given to a person by Shaquille O'Neil himself, one sexy old man. Don Yesso, welcome to the Reyes Reflection podcast.
Oh, I didn't even know you knew about that one.
I try to do my research, my friend. I try.
That happened about 2 or 3 months ago. That was, everybody. Shaquille O'Neil was probably, I don't have a list, but he's got to be in the top 5 most famous people in the world.
Easily.
So he happened to be at the gym where I was training. He was getting his master's in, sports management. I don't know why he needs it. The man's worth $500 million. But anyway, he was there working on his master's degree. And you could see the outfit he had on. He's got pajama bottoms on and, just a big old hanging shirt. And I knew he had a bunch of kids. I didn't know how many he had. And I'd never met him before. So I saw him and just kind of nod. And I saw him hanging out at the front desk. I said, just going back to something you said, just for shits and giggles, let me see if any of his kids are Hocus Pocus fans. I said, I'm going to turn the tables on him and ask him if he wants my autograph. So he was leaning over the counter, and all I did was slide in next to him and mimic him leaning on the counter.
Yep. Before
I could do my little, joke, whether it worked or not, he turned around and goes, "One sexy old man, you know that." And that's it. And everybody at the front desk just started laughing. I said, "I'm going to get you on tape saying that." He goes, "Go get your phone." So I went and got my phone, and the rest is history. And it's just like, like I said, it's before I could even say anything to him, he gave me a compliment. So this man gets, oh God, I can only imagine how many people adulate him every day. So it made my day. It was a nice little twist of the turns.
Of course.
That he reached out to me first. And I did ask him if he wanted the autographs for his kids, and he just went, "That's okay."
Yeah.
Yeah. And but anyway, that's just my life. That's stuff like that happens all the time. So anyway, I don't know if you got it before, but I said I'm 71, and I started in the film business in 1987. So I was 32 when I started. And it all happened because I met a guy on a plane. I was working on my second degree, which came back to where I am now. And I wanted to be a high school coach. And I was on my flight back from visiting a friend of mine in Los Angeles who had become an engineer at Qualcomm at the time. And we're in Manhattan Beach, and he dropped me off at the airport and got on a plane. And this is back when you could smoke. And I had a pack of cigarettes, and this guy came down the aisle, and he looked nervous. And he said, "Do you mind if I bum a cigarette from you?" I said, "No, go ahead." And the seat was open next to me. I had the window seat. And he lit it, and the stewardess said, "You have to sit down, sir. You can't block you out." So I said, "All right." Sit down, and he goes, "Your accent." He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from New Orleans." He said, "I could tell." He said, "By that accent." He said, he said, "I'm Hugh Wilson. I'm going down to do a research for a pilot in New Orleans for a TV show." He said, "And a guy up front," he said, "is Tim Reed. You might remember him as Venus Flytrap." And WTF. He said, "Oh, yeah. He goes, I created that show." I said, "Oh, no kidding." So we ordered a couple of scotch and waters. And by the time we landed, he asked me, he said, "Listen, I don't know if this is going to work out, but do you think you'd be interested in being in my TV series?" And I was like, "Come on, get out of here, man, in the back." He said, "No, I'm serious." He said, "What I really want is your accent." I said, "Okay, well." So 3 months later, I drove out to California, and a bunch of weird, it had to fall into like the perfect thing. CBS didn't want me. I read for them. I was horrible, obviously. And they approved of every cast member except for me. And Hugh had a little bit of weight behind him at the time because he had done Police Academy, WKRP in Cincinnati. So he had a little bit of weight behind him. And Kimmel Masters, who was the head of CBS at the time, said, we love everybody except for that one guy that from New Orleans. He goes, yeah, Donnie. She said, well, listen, we got 3 people I want you to look at. He said, we think they're better. He goes, okay, send them to me. I sent him to him, called him back, said, still one time. He says, I'll tell you what, if he's not any good in the pilot, we'll drop him, we'll recast him, and you have what you want. I said, okay. So halfway through the pilot, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm stumbling along, trying to remember my line, trying to figure out where to go. They say, don't look at the camera, look over here, hit this mark, say your words. And you're blocking somebody. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So anyway, about halfway through, he says, come here, and pulls me outside the set. He's smoking a cigarette. And I don't know if it was going for dramatic effect or not, but it was very dramatic to me. And he said, well, listen, I didn't tell you this story. He said, but CBS didn't want you, and everything. I don't want you to be nervous or anything. And he said, I told him if he wanted good, we'd recast him. Took a big drag of a cigarette. Almost like the most dramatic pause you've ever seen, like, put the cigarette on the floor, stomp it, goes, but you're terrific. We'll go to series, you're coming with us. So that started my career. And because of that, the way I got it, 2 months after that, I was on Tonight Show for the first time with Johnny Carson. And then I wound up just because, and when after I was on Johnny, I became like the night show, day show phenom, because of the way I got cast in the show. I did every show. I even turned down David Letterman. It was just too much. So anyway, that was the start of it. And then after Frank's Place got canceled, which was the most award-winning show on television, I might add. I was at the Emmys my first year. I mean, I thought it was just going to be a piece of cake, for the next however long I was going to do it.
Yeah.
I was at the Emmys, going up the red carpet. We've been nominated for best show, blah, 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 blah. Show gets canceled, reality hits. I'm the guy with the accent. The novelty of the story's over with. No more talk shows. The only one I got to do was Oprah Winfrey after that, and that was because top shows that are canceled. So I should have known that was a caboose right there. And so from there, I was like, what do you do now? So some people said, if you really want to be an actor, you should do a play. So how do you get one of those? I said, just tell your agent you want to do a play. That's right. So I wound up doing a play, and became a very award-winning show in Los Angeles. And got a lot of heat. They wanted to do a movie about it. And Sean Penn was one of the people who came to see the show, and lots of other things. But Sean, the reason why I brought his name up is because he wanted to direct it if it became a film. And so, so he watched the play, and we met afterwards, and he just said, I'd love to do this with you if we do it. And so Israel Horovitz, who was a very award-winning playwright, and on Broadway, it was his play. So Paramount bought the rights, and he wrote a script for Paramount. So he said, listen, for us to really, I want to bring this thing to New York. He said, can you come to my little theater in Gloucester? I said, all right, where the hell's Gloucester? Massachusetts. And that's where, I don't know if you remember the famous, well-known film with George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg, The Boat Went Down. I forgot. It was like a really well done movie. It was filmed in Gloucester, Massachusetts. So that gives you your viewers perhaps a point of where I was for 3 months.
Well, I'm from Massachusetts, so yeah. I know Gloucester very well. Big beach town. Yep.
And then so for the first time, I said, "Oh, I'm getting challenged to accent." Israel was convinced I needed to do a Gloucester accent to make it believable.
Yeah.
So we were going to bring it to New York. And so I did pretty well because I'd worked on it for so long in Los Angeles, and got great reviews, especially because of my accent. If you didn't know about it, you'd swear it was from Boston. And so look, we were going to New York, and it just, we were supposed to do it at Circle in the Square, and it never got picked up. And so I said, all right, what am I going to do now? So Israel said, listen, all's not lost. We still got the screenplay. We'll keep working on that. And since you did this for me to get it this far, I was a star to play. And he says, you pick a play, and next summer I'll put it on. He owned the theater in Gloucester. And I said, okay, I'd like to do Streetcar Named Desire. He goes, okay, we'll do it. And so I went back to Los Angeles, and I got a little bit of heat from the reviews I got in the LA Times, and they were doing Hocus Pocus at the time. And a friend of mine, I hadn't done much. I'd only done Days of Our Lives. I did like 13 weeks on Days of Our Lives. And I really wasn't crazy about it. I mean, I worked with Lisa Rinna. She was a sweetheart at the time. She's a little different now. But she was sweet. You know, she still may be sweet, but she was, you know, just starting in the business at the time. So,
right.
And so I really didn't like it. And they offered me a year contract. And I was like, so anyway, I was doing Days of Our Lives. And in between that, I got a call from my agent saying the director of this Disney movie wants to meet you on set. And I said, okay. And so my son's godfather called me. He was the set decorator on the movie. And he said that I believe the original story was Andrew Dice Clay was supposed to play the bus driver. He was pretty hot at the time, but I think he went off and did Ford Fairlane instead of doing this. And so he told the director, he said, hey, because they needed the role like in 2 days. The role shot in 2 days. And he says, hey, I got a friend of mine that can play this part. So what's his name? He said, Don Yesso. He said, call his agent. You know, so he tells his assistant, call his agent. So that's the call that I got. I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes.
Right.
So I went to the trailer, Kenny's trailer, Kenny Ortega on the lot. They were already shooting. And I read for him. And that night they called me and said, you got the job. You start in 2 days. And so that's how I got Hocus Pocus. And then while I was waiting to go to Gloucester, and so I got Hocus Pocus and did a couple of things. We did some Lifetime movies in between.
Yeah.
And then the ironic thing about Hocus Pocus is, you know, is like, of course, probably nobody remembers back then, but now, I mean, I know what happened. And like I'd say 75% of the lines in a scene I made up. I improvised the whole thing.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that, so I have it here because there's a generation that grew up with Hocus Pocus.
Right? No, exactly. Yeah,
I'm in there. I admit it. Like, and for a supporting role,
right?
You're a big role in that. Like,
right?
It's memorable, and so you know, I gotta ask because I arguably the greatest line in the film, which is funny because as a child you watch it, you're like, whatever. It's when she says, we desire children, and you say, hey, it may take me a couple tries, but I don't think it'll be a problem. Mm-hmm. Like, that is, and so I watch it as an adult because I have a child now, and she watches, and it goes over her head, which I expected to. But for us, it's like, holy shit, that's a funny line. Like, that's a line that you, as a adult, you're like, that's meant for us because now we understand that line. So did you improvise that line?
I emphasized the inflections on it. What it was I think she says, what is this contraption? I said, and I spit gum out the window.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And, I improvised that. And I said, I call it a bus.
I love that.
We desire children. And then it's, and the line was, that shouldn't be a problem. That shouldn't be a problem. Hop on up, something like that. So I just said, after I said I call it a bus, and she said, that's just a leg. I said, well, that shouldn't be a problem. It take me a couple of tries, but then I said, hop on up.
Yeah.
And then when they were walking in, I said, Lord, oh Lord, y'all giving me a fever. I need one of those chemical instant ice packs. I made up all that stuff because there was a lot of air.
Yeah.
On the bus.
Yeah.
And so, he goes, fill it with something. So, and he didn't stop me. He just let me keep rolling. I mean, I just kept making up all this stuff. When she sat on my lap and I started saying, hey, Buttercup, anybody ever tell you, easy on the eye? I mean, none of that was in the script. And solid speed bump. Now the original line was, which was a bigger double entendre than speed bump, was when she jumps up on my lap. The original line was, "Whoa, I think I'm in love." Well, after I did it a couple of times, because we were actually driving a bus, and after I did it a couple of times, there was like 50 people behind us,
Yeah.
and I guess when the producer or one of the writers said, let's do an alternate line, let's try something else.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, we're going up log. It's actually a sewer couple, but I was using log speed bump, like a speed bump in a road that double entendre. So that's why I went, whoa, speed bump. That's why I adjust myself.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, and that, they kept it all. And when Beth's getting off the bus, I said, you want my schedule, my ride? She says, doubts wouldn't. Then I said, party pooper. I made up all that stuff when she was getting on it. And when the first time I said it, she just threw her head around. Like she didn't think I was going to say anything. And she said, right. I think she was really pissed because she thought she was making a clean exit.
Yeah.
I don't ever talk about it, but, so I just stuff. And Kenny kept it all. So, I forget there's a couple of them, and there's a deleted scene there, which I thought was, pretty funny because, you don't see why Sarah's in my lap because the girl's running the back of the bus, and I said, "Excuse me, ladies, I forget exactly, but something like, this is your charity of transportation. However, you do need to give me a token of your affection or something like that, por favor." And then that takes Sarah and throws her at me. So that's my token. That's my payoff. That's what I'm getting paid. So I use that. And that's what made everything with her on my lap become double entendres.
Yeah.
But you don't see that. And I don't know why I took it out of time, or maybe they just didn't want to go that far with it. I don't know. But I think I've made like every list possible of the top 20 most perv lines in movie history.
Yeah.
So I'm the top perv in of all these lines. But, whenever I meet people and they do recognize Hocus Pocus, first thing they say is, Bubble, I'm in trouble. And I'm a keychain. I got keychains, coffee mugs, glasses, pillowcases. It's just made so much. I only wish I could have had a chance. And I didn't know it. When I signed my contract, it says you're not allowed any money for marketing and everything. I've never heard about marketing in a movie before, and now I know why they make you sign that.
Yeah.
Because I'd have made much more money off of marketing than I ever made off of the film. Now that, because every year it's just like my wife comes back and tells me, oh my God, Walmart's got a whole section of Hocus Pocus stuff. It's every year in and out.
Yep.
It's just, here in Baton Rouge. So it is amazing, like you said, for such a small role. Well, it became an iconic film, and he's an iconic character inside an iconic film.
Yep.
So when they did 2, I thought for sure they were going to use us all. And when they didn't, I tried to reach out to a couple of people. Nobody would take my calls. And I started saying, something's a little off here. And then then they finally said they were making 2. And then when 2 came out, I didn't see it. I just saw the trailers. And, I love read the reviews and stuff like that. Whenever I meet people and they know I'm in it, they go, "Oh, well, 2 is horrible." Like, I don't really care. I've moved on.
Right.
I don't think. But we did a reunion one time in Disney. It was everybody but the 3 girls in Orlando. It was a couple of years ago. And we did a big old thing on the stage and everything. And it's interesting to hear everybody's stories because I didn't work with anybody in the movie. The only people I worked with were 3 girls. So, and a lot of them didn't work with the 3 girls. A lot of them worked with themselves. So we all brought different perspectives, and I saw they're going to do 3 now, and I'm certainly not going to reach out to anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody that doesn't want to talk to me. Yeah. But I just read what people write, and it's like so now, and once again, you would know better than I as a fan, or seems like all the reviews I read is like they want the original cast back and they want to just solidify everything. They see Danny and have a baby and and stuff like that. So I don't know how they pull it off, and I don't really. Like I said, I'm not going to think about it. I don't go to sleep at night thinking about it. I would love to do a cameo. I've even thought about so many things I could take the build off of.
Yeah,
I'm older, And you got to understand, Sarah Jessica did this with me. She wasn't a big movie star at the time. She was barely breaking out.
Yeah.
And when we really got to be good friends is when we did Dudley Do Right in Canada, because we were 3 months together. And so she was the only girl in the film, really. And so we had all the bad guys, and she hung out with all the bad guys. We'd go watch the Yankees playing the World Series every night. We were like her bodyguards. Nobody was going to mess with her. We had 13 guys surrounding her at a table, so she didn't get hassled at all. But once again, she wasn't a huge star at the time.
Right.
So we got really close. We spent Thanksgiving together. Her husband came up to the wrap party. Matthew Broderick was sweet. Oh my God, fantastic guy. And Sarah Jessica couldn't be sweeter. But that's when we got really close, not doing Hocus Pocus. We didn't really talk much. She wasn't that well known. It was late at night. So going back, if your viewers can remember this, I was doing Days of Our Lives. And I didn't know if it was going to work out, the days, right? That's what you got to be worried about. Is, when a young actor, you go, man, do I take this? Do I say yes? And conflicts, and oh my God, I'm going to get sued. Well, I did Hocus Pocus, and it was shot at night. And I had a 7:00 call for Days of Our Lives at NBC. Thank God we shot Hocus Pocus about 3 miles from NBC. I didn't wrap till 6:45 in the morning. I ran to NBC, got in a makeup chair, and didn't go to sleep. Spent the whole day shooting Days of Our Lives till 6:00 that night. So it did work out. So I forgot which episode it was, but there's a scene where I came straight from Hocus Pocus to do Days of Our Lives. And anyway, that's why I was tying them all together. So that through all of that, okay? And then fast forward, it came time to do Streetcar Named Desire in Gloucester, my payback. I did it, got decent reviews, not as good as I did from the other play. And I saw what they were going to do a production of Streetcar Named Desire in New York with Alec Baldwin and Jessica Lange. And so Gloucester's only, maybe a 4-hour train ride from New York? I don't remember. From Boston to New York. I forgot.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay. And so I told Israel, I said, Israel, I think I'm going to get on a train and go to New York and audition for Stanley Kowalski's understudy. He goes, Don, I love you to death. You haven't been acting that long. He said, every actor with assault's going to be trying to get that job. Blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. I said, I'll see you tomorrow night. I hopped on a train the next morning, went to New York, met with the casting director, hopped back on the train, came home. And so the play ended, never heard anything back. The play ended, I went back to Los Angeles. And while I was in Los Angeles, my agent got a call from Gregory Mosher, who's going to be the director of Streetcar Design. He just finished Speed to Plow with Madonna. And he was really hot at the time. She said, I want to meet you at the Bel Air Hotel. I said, I'm in. I'll go in. She was right now. I said, okay, I took off. So we met for about an hour and a half, 2 hours in his room, talking. I did the scene for him, a couple of scenes, talked some more. And the next day, about 7:00 in the morning, my phone rang. And he says, Greg Mosher. He said, listen, I don't know if you're interested, but you got the job if you want to come to New York. And that's how, next thing you know, I was on Broadway. So I went from the guy who got hired because of his accent to 4.5, 5 years later, I actually did 8 shows starring a Stanley Kowalski at the Barrymore Theater, which is where Marlon Brando and Jessica Tandy did the original Streetcar Named Desire for Tennessee Williams. So it was a big circle for me. And I thought that maybe I might start to do some things after that, but it was just stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. So finally around 2000, 2001, I came home and there was no film business here. And so I said, and this brings you up to, I said, you know what? Of all I've done in my whole life is I wanted to be a coach and physical fitness. I said, I'm going to start a gym. I don't have any money. I mean, you need $200,000 to start a gym. So I'd been taking, I don't know if you're familiar. Where do you live now?
I still live in Massachusetts.
Okay. So in California, there was a big cult following with this guy named Bikram who did Bikram yoga. And he was like cult-like, really cult-like. I mean, this is where Raquel Welch and everybody else would. What made his different was that he would do it in a 106-degree room. And it was 26 poses, and it took an hour and a half to do them. And you were just sopping. I'm talking about sopping wet. I mean, they were down to just Speedos in there. And everybody was just sopping wet. I was like, man, there's some good stuff. So when I went home, I said, nobody around here is doing this. I said, what about if I take because I was a powerlifter in college. And I said, I wonder if I take the aspects of my weightlifting. This Pilates seems to be getting a little bit of heat. Take a couple of those moves, put them with the yoga moves, and just come with a name called Yoglates. Didn't really mean anything. I just had to come up with something. I found a storage space next to some railroad tracks. $475 a month rent. Had no air conditioner, no heater. I didn't need air conditioner. And I just left the back door open and the slide and front door open. Started out with 12 people. Man, it took off like crazy. I mean, that thing was just booming. I mean, it was packed with, because it's close to LSU. So it was packed. And about 3 or 4 years into it, one of the trainers from medical trainers came to my class. And he said, I need to tell Coach Moffitt, who was the strength coach at LSU, about this. And so I met with him. And they hired me as a special assistant. And so I wound up teaching my whole system to the LSU football program, which won the national championship, the year I was there in 2007. And then they got sued by the SEC because they were having an illegal consultant. They got a $25,000 fine. I finally made it on ESPN as an illegal consultant.
A legal consultant.
Exactly the kind you want, but what the hell. And so it just took off. The whole SEC had it, and I wound up teaching all the programs: the tennis team, the men's tennis team, softball, track stars. I had Olympic gold medalists, and everybody. And so I told them, I said, guys, I just start coming to my studio if you want more of this. And so they all started coming. All my women, I had mostly women, like 95% women. You got these housewives going, oh my God, I'm working out next to the defensive tackle for LSU, and stuff like that. And they get all excited. So it was a wonderful time. And once again, I wasn't doing any films because there was nothing here. Then all of a sudden, Louisiana came up with some tax credits. And he started bringing some film down. Some film down. I said, well, look at this. I might want to back in my film career again. And so by this time, really big movies were starting to come in. That's when I got Fantastic Four, which was a $330 million movie. I did a bunch of pilots for TV shows that never got picked up, unfortunately. Yeah. Did like 3 pilots, one with Eric Roberts, who was hot at the time. I did another one. I forgot. I did like 3 pilots. And of course, none of them got picked up. One for Lifetime. I did a pilot, which would have been really fun to do. I would play like a Tony Soprano in it. And so I had 3 pilots that didn't go, which could have changed everything once again. And then I decided to do my own film. I said, if I'm going to get a really nice role, I need to come up with my own project and do my own film. So, and right after I came home, I found this story about the Aryan Brotherhoods. And it was a true story. I met with the cops who arrested him and went through that. And so my friend Hugh comes back in the story. I tell him the story. He's living in Virginia at the time. He said, oh my God, that's a great story. He came to Baton Rouge. We hired a writer. We developed a script. And I had the third lead in it for myself. And that was the reason why I was doing it. And it took 14 years from the time I found the story by the time we finally got it released. 14 years. I said, this isn't exactly the way it worked out. Thought it was going to go. But after 14 years, we got the movie made. Had a fantastic cast: Willem Dafoe, Matt Dillon, Tom Berenger. We had the guy with the blonde hair, great actor. He works all the time now. Drawing a blank on him. Anyway, and so we had all these terrific actors, and I said, "Oh my God," And Willem is just he's the bee's knees when it comes to acting. And so I said, "What's this going to do?" Well, came out as a flop. So I was like, "Well, that was 14 years. It didn't work out." So then the film business started to go away, and I felt Yoglates had run its course already. Mm-hmm. They released me from LSU. My contract was over. So I said, let me just sell it. So I put up a price tag and somebody paid. I was like, okay, well, I guess, take the money. And so I sold it and I started doing some personal training here at my garage in my house. And that was about 12 years ago. The girls took Yoglates and they made it a booming. Bet they got franchises now. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They took this thing, and I remember I haven't been back to look at it. When I walk away, I walk away.
Yeah.
And I just hear stories, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Those girls did that. So it makes me proud that. So anyway, I'm trying to get fast forward for you. I'm taking up all your tape. And so that brings you about right where we are now. I still got my group here that I train here at my house. I'm a personal trainer. I still audition for films. Like I said, I had 2 heartbreaks the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So when people now, this is following where we started, 71, and somebody asked me the other day, so what do you do? I said, sort of a Renaissance man that's been retired, not wanting to. I don't know how to explain me, because I'm still ready to work and I still train people, but I don't take on new people. I don't have time for that. I walked in my first gym when I was 14 years old. And I don't know if you work out or not.
Yeah, I'm a personal trainer as well.
Okay. So you can understand, maybe you understand where I'm coming from. How old are you?
I'm going to be 33.
Okay, so you're still young. After, when I first went to a gym, there was no personal trainers. There was no Instagram. It was like, you find the biggest guy in the gym, and you say, what do you do?
That's what yeah.
And that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And so I evolved. So I'm telling you all the evolution that I went through.
Yeah.
And it brings you up to today. Well, after having your Pilates and dealing with, I must have trained 100,000 people over all those years between all the classes and everything I taught and all the people at the program and the LSU program and everything. And what you do is you develop, you notice how long you've been personal training.
I've been doing it for about 2.5, 3 years now.
Okay, well, what you find is you read stuff, you do your research, you can realize what's the bullshit and what's not the bullshit. Just look through and see who paid for the research. And that'll tell you right there whether it's bullshit or not. But what I found is since I was 14 to 71 and I trained at Gold's Gym with Lyle Alzado, who used to be my training partner. I've trained with everybody.
Yeah.
And, the Mr. Americas at Gold and all, I trained with all those guys. And so what you learn is that it's more about anecdotally what you can take from people. So since I've trained, say just use a figure, and I might be over, I might be under 100,000 women. You get to see what works, what doesn't work. And I've been with them for so long, I can see the curve.
Yeah.
How they age, what did work, what didn't work from back there, what did work, what doesn't work.
Right.
And that's where I'm at now. And so when people come in or new women want to join or whatever, guys can't handle it. The guys, for some reason, they just can't handle workouts. They get embarrassed. They just don't have the recovery that the women do. That's what I found in my anecdotal thing. Is because the football players, when they used to come in and train with the women at my place nearby, they'd all have to stop, throw up, pat, shake.
Yeah.
The women go, look at that, there's a running back, you can't even finish. It's just women when they do these mobility things and you do it in the heat, and the best athletes in the world weren't able to. I had the number 1 tennis player and the male tennis player, and I had a girl who would be my point person for me. Good looking girl. And she couldn't believe that he couldn't hold the poses as long as she could.
Yeah.
And she said, oh my God, he's so good looking. He can't hold a pose. I wouldn't go out with him. It's a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, but so what I'm saying is that the stuff that I do, the people that I have been with me for 10, 15, 20 years. The girl I just talked about, the tennis player, she's been with me for 25 years and she hasn't left. So when they say I got a friend, I go, stop. Is your friend, is she disciplined or is she just motivated? Well, I think she wants to get ready for a wedding. I said, I don't want to do it. I don't know if you notice, but motivation is one thing. But unless you have a discipline, you're not going to really stick with it.
100%. Because I find that once people, if they're motivated for whether it be the wedding or they just want to lose, like, let's just say 10 pounds, like just throw out a number. I want to lose 10 pounds. Once they do that, they revert back to their old habits, or they don't really care. They may train once a week, once every other week. Whereas, like you said, the discipline of, I want to be, a strong body is a strong mind. I want to be a strong person. I want to be as strong as I possibly can be, whatever the case may be. Like, that's what I find as well. Like, I find that, like, you could be motivated, which is great. It's a great start, but you got to be disciplined. And I agree with you. Yeah. And when you brought that up, it's funny because it's like, I see that and I didn't know the words to put it, but when you said it, I'm like, yep, 100%.
Large part is a personal trainer. You can pick it up within 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen to what they talk and how they say it.
Exactly.
But I'm on with the girls now, and as you're a young man right now, so it's not really that important to you. But what I'm into my girls is longevity. And, they're 60 years old. I got them getting ready to go to the senior Olympics in sprinting. I got my 64-year-old women running 50 and 100-meter sprints. And they're like, we got to be out of our mind. I said, nope, we're going to do this. I said, you are not going to go gently into the good night. That's all there is to it. Neither am I. And so that's what I'm on to now. It's a little early for you to worry about that. But what I've transitioned to from all of that stuff from the athletes and everything is now that I'm trying to, and I don't know if what you follow, Nate, is that, there's a lot of stuff happening with AI. I'm very excited about AI.
Yeah.
And I feel, in my opinion, that if you can stay as healthy as you possibly can and do all the right things, in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to be seriously rewarded because of the lack of diseases, because of the peptides that are coming in, because of the research that's being done. I'm not saying we're all going to become Benjamin Buttons, but I do think what's achievable is to whatever level of fitness you are, whatever age you are chronologically, somehow we'll be able to freeze that or slow it down to a really slow rate. And you'll see people living to be 125, 150 years old. The thing is that, and a lot of my girls said, oh, I don't want to live to be 150 with all those wrinkles. I said, that's all laugh. That's all I think about is wrinkles. And I tell them about the endocrine system and the mitochondria. And they're like, what about this crepey skin? I said, Jesus Christ, that's all they worry about. And so it's like, I think that it's going to take it. But if you're not healthy, it's not going to make you healthy, is what I'm saying. You're still going to have to do the work.
Yeah.
And so that's where the discipline comes in, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
If you can say discipline, people are like, oh, in 3 months I'll lose weight. I'm talking about 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at now. So that's the way and people just, unless you buy into one, I don't need the money. I don't, I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I'm real peaceful. I sleep 8, 9 hours a night, which is one of the things that you need to be doing. I really believe that's going to happen. So, ironically enough, if I can keep looking like Shaquille O'Neil said, one sexy old man, I'm going to be like that for many, many years to come. So, that brought it full circle, huh? And I don't know if you wanted to hear all that, but I brought you everywhere, brought you all the way on up. And I have a son I'm very proud of. I put him through law school, graduated cum laude. He's going to his own law firm now. And he just gave me a beautiful grandson who's a year and a half now. And that's about it. That's my eulogy.
You know what, my friend? That's awesome. Yeah, no. And you tied everything in. You've had a very long career. And, a lot of times when people see you on television or whatever the case may be, they think you're a one-trick pony. And I love doing this show because it gets to see the person behind the screen. And so I got a couple more questions for you, and then we can wrap. So
yeah, let me just pause for a second.
Please.
Like, most people I meet, they go, have you done anything else besides Hocus Pocus? I said, I did 58 films.
Yeah.
I did 29 TV series.
Yeah.
On Broadway. Oh, anyway. Okay, go ahead.
You've done it all. You've done it all. So, yeah, you talked about your fitness and how you used to be a bodybuilder. You're still in fantastic shape. And my dad used to say to me, I don't know where you stand on this, but my dad was always the type that was like, everybody should be training until the last day they're here. Absolutely. They should just be training. And so you are in better shape than people half your age. I mean, I saw a video of you doing horizontal planks. Can you talk to me about your workout routine today?
Okay, just, I don't know if you're familiar. You know what dips are, right?
Yep.
I had a friend of mine, my best friend is actually a female. She trains. She's one of the girls I'm bringing to the Senior Olympics. And I said, time me on these dips, see how many I can get. And I said, I'm trying to get 50 in a minute. She goes, okay. So I hit 50 and I said, whoo, and I dropped down. She goes, it's 47 seconds. I said, what? I had more time left. You got to be kidding me. So, I probably only got maybe, I was really like at the last. However, it's 55 dips. 50 dips at 71 years old. So for shits and giggles, I plugged in an AI. You can do the same thing. Chat BT, AI, 50 dips in 47 seconds. He said, if you did the dips, they were full dips, you are an uncommon person for your age. So that's what they call me now, uncommon. When you saw the horizontal planks, I haven't seen anybody do that. I got one thing where I held my hand, put my head on the end of a bench to a dragonfly, and I went all the way down to parallel with the ground.
Yep.
And then I pulled myself straight back up like that. And
yeah.
I haven't seen anybody do that one yet.
I some of your videos I've seen you have like a bench bar there, and then it's on the ground, and you're like using the feet sliders and doing like that. You're doing, and you're rolling. And it goes to show that it's the longevity of your training is important.
14, Nate, and I never stopped.
Yeah.
All those years I was in Hollywood and Los Angeles, I was always, if I wasn't working, I was at a gym.
Yeah.
And it never stopped. And now I see how important it was when I look at people. Okay, how can I say this? I'm not worried about being humble. I just don't want to turn your viewers off. It's like, I'll go through, it's not a week that doesn't go by where 3 to 5 people stop and say, my God, I hope I look like you want to get to be your age. Or respect, dude. You look, oh man, and it's reinforcing. I don't need it, Nate.
Yeah.
But it's just like keeps feeding it, keeps giving the horse some more oats.
Yeah.
And so I know I'm onto something. I know the thing is that, like you said, I'll put myself up against any 71-year-old trying to do the dragonfly, or even just the rollouts with the bar, trying to do and you just do any of those things. I just or the 50 dips. Just try 50 dips. But you can do it, but you can't stop, Nate. You gotta want it. And the thing is, I get up every morning, and the first thing I say is, what I'm gonna do to be the healthiest I can be. And do you have any more questions? I don't want to hold you up too long.
Yeah, no, I please, I got more. You're good. Please.
The thing is that to me, at my age, I'd love to work. I'd love to do another big film. I'd love to do a series. I'd love to, I want to keep training people. But to me, when I get up in the morning, the first thought as these 2 feet are hitting the ground is my brain will start going, okay, what am I going to do today to train? After I do my chores or whatever. The first note on my mind is, how can I be the most healthiest human being I can possibly be? Mm-hmm. Health is the number one thing in my life right now. Number one, takes over everything. Yep. And I read an old quote, not old quote, old story. Alexander the Great, who's probably the only man that ever really ruled the world at one time, the known world. He was 34 years old and he died. And when he died, he said, I want all my pallbearers to be physicians, the doctors that tried to save me. I want every slave I have to pull all my wealth behind me. And I want all the women that I laid with to follow behind. He said, I want to show people that no matter how much you have, unless you got your health, you ain't got nothing.
I love that. Yeah. And that's symbolic. And that's a clear example that you're right. Health is wealth. And at the end of the day, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
Hey, let me ask you this. How many times you didn't feel good and you look in the mirror and you go, man, I look like shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first thing people say.
Yeah.
Is because they're not feeling right. So nothing big, and try and think of anything else besides getting healthy.
Right.
So then you were like, oh shit, why didn't I realize this before I got sick? Anyway, I don't mean to get too profound. Anyway.
No, it's true. I love it. Yeah, I'm super big in training. I think it's important. I think everybody should be training. As I said, my dad, he still to this day trains every single day.
Oh, that's awesome. How old is he?
He's 58.
Oh shit, he's still a young man. At 58, man. Oof. I was still starting at 58.
And as a kid, I was always enamored by him, and I always looked up to him because not only does he train every single day, but he's a UPS driver. So he's fucking carrying
my God,
the place, lifting them up and
the
things like
heat,
that.
the
Yeah.
heat.
And he
It
would
hurts, man.
after his shift, he'd always go to the gym and train.
After UPS shift, he goes and works out.
Yep, every single day.
That mofo got discipline with a capital D.
Yes, yeah.
If you go work out after being a UPS driver all day long, you got discipline, dog.
Yeah.
Man,
No.
respect to you, old man.
I have the utmost respect. I revere him because I see him and I'm like,
Good.
I say, I wish I could be like that one day.
You will be.
Yeah.
You will be. You just have to stay disciplined, Nate.
Yeah.
Stay disciplined. Never stop. Never stop. Never stop. Follow your instincts. If you don't feel like going heavy, that's fine. But show up. Show up. Yeah. Just keep going. I'll give you an example. Okay. I'm not sure what it is, how long it's been, but I'm going to say anywhere from 5 to 8 years. I don't know. I lost track of it. I haven't been sick in like 5 or 8 years. All that COVID shit, man, I flew right through that. I was out shopping. I was out training people, behind buildings and stuff like that. I didn't stop. I never stayed home. And I haven't been sick in 5 or 8 years. Now, a lot of people think my life is boring. That's fine. I'm in bed at 10:30 every night, and it's been like that for 10, 15 years. And, I sleep. I eat well. I take all my vitamins. So, but the thing is I haven't lost any time to being sick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so many people, I haven't had to put shit in my body that I need to. No, but the thing is that I had 2 young kids. I had a guy that was like a big bodybuilder. He was like 34, and the other kid was 27. And we're doing some incline benches. And this is when they started letting people back in the gym, but COVID was still big.
Yeah.
Both of them are coughing over me while they changing the weights. And I'm, because I'm waiting for my, both of them want I'm getting COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm the old man. I didn't get shit.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys need to work on your immune system or something. Y'all needed that. And that was probably my biggest example. They both, while they changing the weights, and one of them goes, man, I got COVID. I can't come today. And the other one goes, I got COVID too. And I'm like, well, I'll see y'all when y'all get back. It's just something about, I don't know what, okay, you have doctors, like they always try and make sure when they have sick people in the hospital, they try not to touch any of their clothing or anything because of the microbes. They don't want anything. But if there's a really healthy person that gets sick, like say an athlete, something like that, they'll touch their stuff. They want their microbes. But it's like they go out of their way for anybody that's unhealthy to touch their microbes. And I believe that about the mic. I think I just developed so strong, and probably you and your dad for sure at his age has developed such microbes through the years that it's almost like, unless they come up with something like, out of the universe. I mean, I'm pretty much bulletproof to anything right now. But you see, that's the payoff, Nate. Yeah. It wasn't because I wanted to fit in a tuxedo for a wedding. I wanted to be healthy my whole life. Mm-hmm. That's my payoff. And they'll go, well, you never get sick. I say, well, you don't train like me. You don't live like me. So if you want to be like me, you got to do like me. And you don't want to do that. I'm telling you, mate, Nate, and this is what I found. It's why I don't train a lot of people anymore. I don't take on any new people. People don't want to do what you tell them to get. They say they want to look like you, but they don't want to do what it takes to get like you.
No, they don't want to put in the work. They want the. I'm a trainer. I know people say.
No, I'm saying you probably heard that. I want to look like you, Nate.
Yeah, and then they're here with me for a month or two, and then they're like, "Yeah, but have you heard anything about that GLP?" I'm like, that ain't gonna do shit for your body. Right now. I hate to break it to these people. I'm like, I've seen it. I tell my clients, I'm like, guys, have you seen those people? I hate to be mean. They look like their bones are ready to snap. Mm-hmm. Like that's not healthy for you. That's not like training every single day.
Nate, is they wanted to find that shortcut.
Yes.
Now I've had some women who wanted to get on. I said, okay, if you do, it's going to be hard, but you still got to eat a lot of protein, which you're not going to have an appetite.
Right.
And you need to do heavy weights, which you ain't going to want to do, because that's the only way you're going to keep the muscle and keep your bone density. Mm-hmm. Well, that's too hard.
That's the only way. The only way.
That's all I got, Nate, when I say that.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and I'm transitioning. I'm going to throw out a few projects, and I want you to just give me one word that comes to mind from that project that you did. And if you didn't do the project, because I got it from some sources, you could just say, I was not in this film.
Okay.
Jeepers Creepers 3.
Had a lot of fun, horrible film. That was more than one word.
That's okay. Yeah, a sentence. We could do sentence.
Oh, once again, they wanted to turn that into a series. It didn't happen.
Fantastic Four.
Loved working with Miles Teller. Director, let's move on.
All right. Focus.
Will Smith, I know he did the slap and all. Boy, that's more than one word. I know he did the slap and all this and that. But as soon as I told him, I said, hey, you remember him from Fresh Prince? He goes, the limo? Yeah, with Vanessa? I said, yeah. He goes, oh, this is my man here. We're going to be good. And Margot Robbie, who was completely unknown at the time.
Yeah, that was new. Yeah.
We met in the makeup trailer, and she had on like some gym shorts. She had a little t-shirt, a little bit of belly showing. Not a gut, but a little belly showing. No makeup on, and she's telling me, I did a little TV series called Pan Am and everything. I said, oh, that's cute. And she's nice. She's sweet. We talked about 20 minutes. She shows up on the set, and I went, okay, we taking a selfie together. You are smoking. And I know that's not politically correct to say that now, but back then I did. And star. So,
yeah.
Anyway, and I love the two directors of that movie. I did 2 films with them. I did I Love You, Philip Morris, and Focus.
Yeah. I see a source that says you were in 22 Jump Street. Is that true?
The sequel, not the first one, the second one. And I had great scenes with Channing Tatum and
is it Jonah Hill?
No, what you call it? Kurt Russell's son.
Wyatt.
And I was the coach trying to recruit him, and we were talking about steroids in the scene. And maybe because the whole scene was about steroids, they cut out, but I got cut out of the movie. And when I was doing looping for Focus, the 2 guys had seen the cut where I was still in the movie in L.A. They go, Don, you just a coach in every movie lately, because I did 22 Jump Street right before I did. But I tell you what, Channing Tatum was an absolute sweetheart. I mean, we spent all day together out at LSU football field. I mean, it was a gorgeous day. I mean, Wyatt couldn't have been any sweeter. I mean, just I had a great time on that one. But I got cut.
Yeah. But I heard you were on the set, so I wanted to ask about that. Yeah, that's great. Big Fat Liar.
Tremendous. I like the movie. It's a good movie. And the thing is Paul Giamatti I worked with all these people before they become big stars. Paul Giamatti wasn't known for anything. And we were sitting down and in between takes and everything. I said, does your agent have any idea how big of a star you're going to be? He just laughed. And, his daddy was the commissioner of the Major League Baseball. He's the one that banned Pete Rose for life. Paul Giamatti. Was that his?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Giamatti. And I said, as a matter of fact, you tell your agent, I said, if you was a stock, I'd have a strong buy on you right now. Well, we know what happened after that. After Big Fat Liar, this guy wanted to do everything. I mean, just everything. He was terrific in Billions. But director was okay. Movie was good. Actually, they liked me so much in that movie. I don't remember the Fall Guy. What was his name? The stunt man. Remember he had the movie the TV show Fall Guy?
Oh, yeah.
He was in the movie as well. And there was a little bit bigger part. And he was giving him a hard time. Once again, I used as a pawn. And he was telling him he wanted more money. And they called me and said, listen, if he backs out, we're going to move you up to stunt man and have you jump out the plane and everything. And I said, that's fine. I don't care. And so when they called him and said, we have somebody else, he took the money. So like I said, remember I told you before, I've been used as a pawn before. That's an example right there. Anyway.
So you were almost the stunt guy in that film?
Yeah, in other words, you remember when he jumps out the plane, he's got Paul Giamatti strapped to him, and
you were almost that guy. Yeah, when he's like, "Oh, Jesus."
Is it Lee Majors? Lee Majors, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is Majors. Yeah.
So I guess they were trying to get a name in the movie, and they told me, they said, Don, be aware we might change your schedule because if he passes, we're going to give it to you. I said, love it, let's go.
Yeah.
And so they went and told him no more money. So they used me as a pawn.
Yeah. You were still Rocco Malone, head of security.
Oh no, listen, I love doing that role. And the thing is, it's sad, Nate, is both those kids were so sweet
Yeah.
to work with. And then I saw what happened to both of them. Well, Frankie's okay now.
Yeah.
With the girl, Jesus, it's a tragedy, man. Just
Yeah.
horrible with the road she went down. But anyway.
I know it is upsetting. It's upsetting.
Yeah. Amanda something. Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Ellen TV series. You were in that.
I did two of them. Once again, knew Ellen before she became anybody. I knew her when she was doing $15 night sets at the Improv. So one night I was doing Frank's Place, it's a show that I told you that I got, which was about New Orleans, which was the most award-winning show in 1987. So I was at the Improv one night just hanging out. And once again with Dennis Quaid, who was unknown at the time. Johnny Goodman was just sitting on bar stools back then. Nobody knew who Johnny Goodman was. And so we were all just young actors just hanging out. And so Ellen and her brother Vance DeGeneres, who's still a good friend of mine, actually, we text quite often. They both came up to me in the Improv and said, "Hi, I'm Ellen, and I'm Vance. We love you on Frank's Place. We think you're terrific because we're both from New Orleans." I said, "Oh, very nice to meet y'all." So and so I said, "Oh, she's kind of funny, you know." Anyway, so she goes off and winds up getting these shows, and Vance becomes the writer for her. Vance was a very talented musician. He did an album with Gina Shock. I don't remember if you remember who that was. She was the drummer for the Go-Go's. And he wrote all their songs, and they did an album. Anyway, he was when she did the Oscars, he was the writer for that. He was like Ellen's backstop. He did everything for Ellen. He was always her backstop. So what he would do was, in the first show she had, I forgot the name of it, he wrote a part for me and just sent it over and said, "We want to hire Don." So I went and did like a mobster. And the next show, which I think was like 2 or 3 years later, they said, "We want to put Don." I wrote something for Don, bring him one over. So that's how I got on those shows, is because of Vance. He always wrote me a part. And it was nice to see Ellen, catching up with her through the years. Saw from the Improv. She always give me a big hug, very sweet to me. "Welcome to the show, Don. Welcome to the show." Then she went off and got her own show. And, things kind of went sideways from what I understand. You probably follow the press. I'm not really even sure. I don't even know how to comment on it. Just I knew things went sideways. And she moved to wherever she moved. And I talked to Vance a couple of times in the middle. And I don't believe I'm talking out of school, but he said that it's really tough because of the people who come at you. And it's like, she is my sister and I'm going to offend her, he said, but it's just the way it is. And I won't go into what else he said, but, but I love Vance to death. He God damn, is he a good guy. We still text all the time. I texted him about 6 months ago. We don't talk about his sister at all. But,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it probably for the best. Yeah.
No. He doesn't bring her up. I don't bring her up. So.
Yeah. Perfect. Blast from the Past.
Oh,
what a great scene.
Oh, what? Now that was Hugh Wilson again.
Yeah.
My friend Hugh Wilson just got me on plane. He once again let me do what I wanted. Let me put the ponytail on. And Brendan was Brendan was still George of the Jungle, hadn't broken out yet.
Yeah.
And he was just terrific in it. And who was the girl that did it with me? She was hot at the time for a moment. Alicia Silverstone.
Is that her name?
Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah.
Well, let's leave it that she was in the scene. Brendan, he's a unique fellow. I could do a whole podcast with you on Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
He is a complete enigma to Hollywood, and I see why he had struggles. But I had so much fun doing that scene. Oh my God. All that shit, Mazel fucking Tov and all that. I was making all that shit up, and he was just like laughing his head. "Go, Donnie, go." Yeah. And so that was a fun movie. And you know what? It's a little movie that still holds up well.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I encourage anyone to watch it. I love that movie. Yeah, It's a good movie. Well done.
You got to bring up one more.
No. That's all I got. I mean,
Guarding Tess.
Okay, all right, good. You got one more you want to say? Go ahead.
Famous actor. He was completely unknown at the time, and we all hung together all the time. Shirley was the icon. She mooned us in the middle of a fucking scene one time. She was a hoot guy. We all out one night, and I don't know if you remember a guy named was Tackleberry in Police Academy. David, I'm blowing his name anyway. He was Tackleberry, the one with the big old gun that his mama gave him. And so we were all hanging out one night. We went to this bar. It's kind of like a pool hall bar. And it was all 8 of the guys that were the guards for guard test. We all going out and we walk in the bar and everybody goes, Tackleberry, Tackleberry, Tackleberry. And Nick leans over and goes, yo, Nick Cage. He got no attention. The guy from Police Academy got all attention. We laughed our ass off. I said, yeah, big movie star from Trading Arizona. Tackleberry's more famous than you. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
All right. Well, Don, thank you again for taking the time with me. This was a blast. Before we go, can you let everybody know where they can follow you, see what you're doing? Because I know you go to conventions from time to time. So can you let people know where they can follow you so that way they can stay up to date on what you're up to?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook at Hocus Pocus Bus Driver. And I'm on Instagram. I think it's just Don Yesso. I sell autographs and photos and memorabilia through the Facebook page. Don't COVID, man, geez, made a fortune off of that. Hope the IRS ain't listening. But anyway, I want to say something to you.
Please.
You're terrific at what you do. I mean, I've been interviewed by the best, by Johnny Carson, so I got a benchmark to relate you to. Very comfortable. You wait. You're patient. You ask good questions. You're informed. You're definitely informed. You do your homework, and you got, I don't know whether your personal training career or your career in podcasts will take off, but it seems to me that you'll do very well in whatever one you do. So may the road rise up to meet your feet, my friend, in the future.
I appreciate that because I do the asking the people. And so the fact that you took the time, I don't take it lightly. It's a gift. Time is a gift. And the fact that you shared some of yours with me, we made a record of this. And so I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And that'll definitely stay in my heart for a while. So I appreciate that.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Because, the things anybody asks me a podcast, I'll do it. Because I don't know where this is going to be one day, but one day with my grandson, hopefully I'm around here. But if I'm not, my grandson will be able to look back and find me somewhere and just know a little bit about me. Anyway, I'm done to talk about me. You, my friend, best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. For everyone listening, make sure to check out the sponsors in today's episode bio for exclusive deals. Follow me at those socials. Don, it's officially on the record. You're forever a friend of the show, a friend of mine. There's only one thing left to say. Farewell, mortal busboy. And as always, may you live, may you love, and may you thrive.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Gratitude.